What's up, guys? Alex here, licensed CPA and Realtor, and I'm over here with Cesar. Cesar, I want you to introduce yourself.
How you doing? My name is Cesar, also a licensed real estate salesperson.
Now, I happened to jump into the team meeting, a couple days back, and I was like, oh, new agent, whatever, and I see Cesar, first closing. I'm like, wait, what? What happened here? So you're what? How far in are you?
I'm 2 months and 2 weeks in, to be exact, actually.
And you locked down your first closing. We've been together for almost 4 hours at this point.
Correct.
Right? And I'm ready to sit here like, okay, so the vernacular isn't there yet, but
Correct.
The moxie and the savvy is.
Yes.
Like, there have been a couple agents, right, that at this point that I've interviewed and spoken with, and I'm thinking my man here is going to be killing it soon, right? And I know that I say this with all the agents I bring on, but there's a reason for this. And now the other interesting thing is you do not come from like a finance, real estate background.
Nope, not one hair.
Not one hair.
No, sir.
All right, so let's go into like origin stories here, right?
Okay.
So let's go from where did you start outside of real estate before you got to real estate?
In fitness, actually, my passion is soccer, actually, and I professionally played soccer. I did reach a point I was getting paid to play. I went to Columbia. That's how I got scouted. I played in New York. Went to Columbia. Was playing on a Division II team. Unfortunately, got injured and sick all at the same time. Came back to the U.S. to get medical treatment and just get better. I quit soccer and I found culinary. Did that for a long time. Became a chef and owner. Next thing you know, the pandemic hit, unfortunately. So that put a stop on a lot of people and obviously in my life.
Really?
And then next thing you know, I was working with my dad. He's a contractor. Started meeting brokers and real estate agents, and they said, hey, you should be a real estate agent. Took that time, took the test, passed, here I am.
And dude, you hit the ground running, right?
Yeah, so far so good, man.
Because look, how many times do we see like, oh, such and such joined, and such like new agent here, new agent there, and you don't hear a word after that, right?
Right.
And I look at like statistics, right? And so you're gonna be left with like what, 10-20% of agents after their first year, and by the 5, it's very, very, very slim.
Okay.
Right? But my guess is a lot of the agents come in here with the assumption that they're gonna be like, hey, I'm gonna walk in, I'm gonna get these leads, I'm gonna make these sales. And I might not be a millionaire off the bat, but you know what? I should be able to, clear $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, right? You forgot something. There's work, right? And so even before that, I didn't know you were a professional soccer player. I just thought like this dude likes fitness in general.
Yeah, no, I did. I made a comeback at the age of 30 just because I was feeling good. Mm-hmm. And I went to try out for Sporting Kansas City for the MLS. 200 players. I'm going up against like 18-year-olds, 14-year-olds, and they picked me top 4 to go to their camp. I did get released 2 weeks after, but honestly, I really do think it's because of my age. It was against me, but I left on a very happy note.
Dude,
but I'm a very competitive person, so real estate is a very competitive thing.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a chef, very competitive, so it's like all tying in together.
And I was just gonna say that, I'm like, you did not pick anything that was gonna be like done the easy way. From sports. Look, if you're doing like pickup games, that's one thing.
Right.
Professional sports, okay, like that alone, right?
Right.
Then you decide you're going into the restaurant chefing world, which when I talk to any one of my friends or anyone that I even know, they're like, in that restaurant industry at all, they're like, there is a level of insanity.
Oh man, yeah.
Right? There's no like, oh, this is gonna be a fun passion project. No, you gotta love this thing, right?
Yeah.
And there's a true grind.
Oh yeah.
Right? And so when I think I'm like, sorry, sports chef, then you went into real estate.
Yes.
And I'm assuming this wasn't all rainbows and butterflies for you from the jump.
No, it wasn't. It was so overwhelming. I still have no idea what I'm doing. But thanks to coworkers like yourself and the team that I'm in with Keller Williams, there's a lot of help. But personally, my beginning, I was just very confused. Again, not my background,
right.
But I just have that drive and that work ethic to learn.
Absolutely. And
to just keep pushing forward and battle adversities, and I want to do better for my life, and I'm very happy right now.
And that's definitely shine, right? Anytime someone has, for instance, even taken a stab at, say, owning a business, right?
Yeah.
And there's a thing that you want to do, right? And then there's all the stuff you have to do,
right?
Right? And I imagine you found out very quickly that there isn't just like a quick playbook of like, oh, so this is what you do when you have a restaurant: get a sign, get a lease, and buy some equipment, and you make food.
Right.
Right? for me, it's like the minute you were like, yo, I ran a restaurant, right? And I went from soup to nuts, right? And it wasn't just, oh, we had a spot for a couple of weeks. No, it's like, no, I worked in restaurants,
right?
And I ran my own. For me, anyone who, like, I guess the problem is most people who haven't seen that back end of the house, they're like, what? So you stand on your feet for like, what, 12 hours and you're just doing this for 12 hours? No, dude. Like, there's utter chaos. And when I see firsthand like the toll it takes on their body, but their mental and just everything, right? There's a profound respect that I have for people who like stay in that game and like, choose to wake up. Sometimes not even sleep, actually, right?
I've slept at the restaurant many times.
Right, and then for me, I'm like, oh, that's a one-off. Like no. If this is your thing and you want this to succeed, there'll be a lot of times you're sleeping on the floor.
100%.
Right, or maybe if you're lucky to have an office, you're sleeping on an office, maybe sleeping under your desk, whatever it is, because you don't have time.
100%. Yeah, agreed.
Right? And so the fact that you're taking that and you start to try real estate. Like, there's no trying with this kid. There's no like, oh, like it's like, no, I made a decision, I started. Damn, this dude isn't playing. Like, he's not playing around at all, right? And that's where, like, just like some of the other agents, like you've seen some of the faces that popped up, they're new, they're getting their deals, but it's not, obviously we're real estate agents, and so obviously we want to generate business, and it's a business thing. But on the other side of it is, you're not making money unless you're helping people.
Correct.
Yeah. Right. Even the conversations I see you have with some of the people who walked on through, I'm like, no, this dude is actually literally doing whatever it takes to help people get to their destinations, right? Like, it was one of these quotes I saw. It was a good salesperson helps their clients make better decisions. When you start, if this isn't your background, you don't know what those are. I know a lot of people will look at this and like, well, then why the hell am I going to hire this kid? Very simple, because when I met you for the meeting too, I was like, there's no like, oh, like, I don't know this. Okay, right? It's like, I don't know. It's like, so can you do me a favor? Can you explain this to me on how this is supposed to work, right? And and if the explanation doesn't work, I'm like, all right. So if I were to do X, Y, and Z, would this work? It's a thorough search to analyze and understand, right? And so for me, I'm like, you might not know everything, but the beauty of the real estate industry, and I know people want to knock it, the barrier to entry is low, right? The people who rise to the top are those who become students of the game.
Yeah.
You are no stranger to that, right?
Yeah.
So. We'll get to the real estate portion later because I'm sure that's gonna be a big part. But restaurants, I'm like itching. Like, what cuisine is like your wheelhouse?
Okay, so I'm classically French trained, but the restaurant that I opened up with my ex-business partner, it was a combination of Korean, and Southern.
Oh,
Korean and Southern food. Yep.
Okay, so I'm gonna put it out there.
Go for it.
It is my firm belief that my people have mastered the art of frying. It's gonna ruffle feathers. I understand. I understand. Right? And you know what? These are fighting words, and I'm gonna have to take that on the chin. But so
I'm with you. I know where you're going with this. Trust me. I know where you're going with this.
I'll leave that there for now. But okay.
I know, right? It's because again, I'm classically French trained, and throughout the years, I've always worked at Michelin, star restaurants. Some obviously weren't Michelin star, but just a variety of cuisine. French was always in my wheelhouse. I've obviously learned Italian. I have, Hispanic heritage. I'm Hispanic, so the Hispanic food is there. But I've always been inclined to Asian cuisine. I just love the Asian culture. I love the Asian food. So I definitely would always buy some books and read and do some recipes, and obviously your typical Chinese takeout, and you go to restaurants, all that stuff, and Korean barbecues. So once in a while I just start, playing around with these flavor profiles, and then it just hit me because I have family that lives in South Carolina. I was like, I want to combine the two together. So I ended up contacting one of my good friends who is Korean and knows the cuisine very well, and we collaborated on a menu. So I got to learn a lot from him and just in general, like the culture and the food. Well done. So that really expanded my skill set even further. So it was fun. It was a lot of fun, testing out food and seeing what pairs up. I love spicy, and that flavor profile is definitely up and down.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh damn! I didn't know it was that combo. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know that we had a long day here today.
Yeah.
But coincidentally, and just an open invite, you're not required. We are making kimchi burgers tonight. So me and the homies by my way, we decided we're gonna have impromptu barbecue. So if you're down, you're more than welcome.
All right.
See, I'm actually glad that I didn't completely ask you all these things prior.
Right, it makes for what's going on here. Great content.
Yeah. Again, you're 2 months in, right?
Yes.
It's 2 months down the pipe, and you already got your first, property into contract, right?
Yes.
Not closing. I should specify.
Contract, right?
I'm
I'm still learning the language. Yeah.
Absolutely. And look, I said too, right? That was still on me, right? But for me, I guess it's just more my hopes, right? What I like to base it off of is not your actual performance, especially when you're new, because you don't have a baseline, right? So for me, just like anything else that I like to do is I like to base it off of the person. Right?
Okay.
So for me, it's what does that character look like? What is their potential? Like if I look at someone, it's not really a judgment per se. It's more of a what are the vibes I get, right? And from my end, you already have the makings, right? You already have the social skills. You already have the curiosities. You have the work ethic, right? So for me, in that respect, you can still take that and mess up. However, there's nothing here between our interaction that lead me to be like, he's gonna take this and say, I'm a screw off, right?
Right.
So my hopes for you here is that you just take this and run, because I can't see a situation where you are going to say, oh, I got my first closing, all right, I'm good. So now where are my 30 other clients?
Right.
I don't see that wrong with because I think especially now that I know that track record of the things that you've done, it's kind of like, okay, this is done. Now, how do I make this better, and how am I going to lock down more with my grind?
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's a double down on you.
Right.
Do you have any kind of plans in terms of expectation for the next year?
Okay, great question. I know that's one of the things that starting as a real estate agent, a lot of the experience, brokers and agents would say, set yourself goals, write down what you expect in the first year. Me personally, after, understanding a little bit of the language, and now that I understand that I do have one under contract, right? And hopefully go into official closing, I personally put a goal that I want 3 closings for the year. That's my hard goal. Okay. 3 closings for the year, just make sure I have that on paper. If I get more than that, fantastic. And just overall learn the business, just take any opportunity I could get. And I thank you for allowing me to be in this open house and seeing, I definitely got to thank you. Just learning, just make sure I learn.
Fair enough.
And the money will come.
There's gonna be an argument like 3 closings, that's it. But
yeah, you see, oh well, damn, thanks.
But for me, when I sat down, they're like, oh, what's your expectations for the year? I'm like, I don't know. If I make 6 figures, if I just break 6 figures, I'm good. She's like, that's all you got?
Right.
I'm like, well, for me, I think that's what's reasonable. I don't want to say I'm gonna be a millionaire. I'm gonna make millions in my first year.
Right.
But with that said, it's as a beginning agent, and this is the thing, there is no limit, right? There's no limit. But by and large, I think there are more agents that get into the situation where they're like, oh, I can't wait to get 3 closings a month. Okay, and it's possible. It's absolutely possible.
Sure.
The thing also then becomes if you have 0 book of business and you don't know what the hell you're doing.
Right.
It could put yourself in a position where you're actually hurting yourself, in that you expect these leads to just keep coming to you, and you think that these closings are just gonna happen, and none do. So, with that said, 3 closings for the year. We're already midway through the year, so you know what? I'm fine with that, right?
Well, yeah. The only reason why I said 3 closings is because I know I have to.
It's a learning process.
Yeah, I have to learn so much, and I don't know how long it really takes to close a deal.
Absolutely.
So I just I like odd numbers, and it's always been like a chef thing, because when you plate, you put odd numbers. So I just picked 3 because, again, I don't know what's the process like, how long it takes, or how lucky I could get as well, because I know there's some luck a little bit involved, but I know I have to put in the work, I have to put in the hours, I have to go find the leads, Absolutely. I have to go get myself out there, speak to people, and I have a lot of real estate agents use fishing terms, like I got them on the hook, I just haven't reeled them in, into the boat. So that's why I just put that number, but realistically, in my mind, do I want to be a millionaire? Do I see myself becoming a millionaire? 100%. Do I see myself closing more? Then 3, yeah. But again, just for a peace of mind, just because I did that in the very beginning, like 3. Okay, I think 3 is a good number. I don't know what I'm doing. Let's close 3 deals.
Yeah. For me, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Like for me, the competing schools, I thought they all have their rationale.
Yeah.
And honestly, I got to the point of like, I think I put myself almost in that ballpark too.
Really?
I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't expect like. Part of me is like once I get into something, I kind of tend to dive into things, right? And so for me, I see all these coaching schools and all this other stuff, and I'm like, damn, these people are closing like 30 deals a year. What the hell? Like, okay, but then as I start trying to do these things, I'm like, what the hell? 30 deals? What the hell? What are these monsters coming from? Like, I don't understand. So I got to that point of like understanding that for me personally, for me to have more comfort, I want a better understanding before I like pull the trigger on certain things. Because it's one thing if I mess up and it's on me, right? Like no one else gets hurt. Yeah. But for me, the other side of it is this is client facing, and this is potentially the biggest investment some people will ever make in their life. Yeah. Right. So for me, I don't want to be in a situation where let's say you're my client and I do try my best, but it's not still the best you can get from me, right? And so in that case, I want to take more time to learn the ways that will get people hurt, so I know not to do them, right? Yeah. I feel like you're taking that same approach of like, let me learn the jargon, let me learn the legalities, let me learn the ethics, let me learn the way these operators are actually like killing it, right? Not just getting by, how they're killing it. And so like when I see that brain kind of turn in your head, I'm like, oh, this dude's gonna be a freaking monster in a couple of years. Oh my God. Appreciate it. Right? Yeah. I think you have a lot of stuff going for you, right? In your past, like my argument here, and correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah. It's not so much of a teach me everything, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, or if it doesn't fit in the box, it's like garbage, right? Like I think you have that mindset of like, all right, if this is a goal, how am I gonna get there, right? And what are like, if there are variables, right? Like you kind of seem to swing with it. Right? Yeah, of course. So, in that perspective, how is it that you was it something that you always had, or was it kind of like you kind of had to embrace as you went through?
I think it's honestly probably something I've always had. I mean, just my mentality of things is, like common sense, but yet common sense not so common nowadays. But, just me personally, the overall nature of speaking to someone, regardless of what profession it is, it's like I take it and I start absorbing it and I say, okay, where is this going? Right. So I do adapt and adjust and improvise a lot on the spot, if you will. But in regards to what you said, I think it just naturally just came to me, and I honestly probably got that from my dad. My dad is like I'm like a replica of him. Like our personalities are like exactly the same. It works. So it works. So like my father's a social butterfly. I've always seen him, and I guess I'm like that. Here we are.
Well, you got the good traits, man.
Yeah, I got the looks for my mom though. I got the. I'm not saying my dad's ugly. I'm not gonna. Don't want to shut up. I'm gonna take that one back.
Sorry, Mr. J.
Yeah. Sorry, Dad.
But your son is an all-star. Just letting you know. Right? Yeah. But I mean, like I'm sure you met some folks, especially after all the people you met in your life. Yeah. They're like, if it doesn't fit that box, they're like, it doesn't work. Yeah, right? And in real estate too, I don't think that works well. Right? Yeah. Like how many times you think you have this plan forward, let's say it's a buyer, you're like, hey, this is how we're gonna go about things. Right. And then life happens and that goes all out the window, but you still gotta get this to work somehow. Yeah. Right. And part of it's gonna be experience, but dude, I think the fact that this is your default. Yeah. Man, that 3. All right. So since we are already in June. Yeah. My assumption here is that 3 is gonna be 6. 6 closings. Let's do it, man. Let's do it. 6 closings by the end of the year. I love it. Thank you. All right, and we're going for 6, and we're going for 6. Right? We're going for 6. Because the other side of it is like how a lot of people think they're their own silo, right? But like you already reached out to a lot of the heavy hitters in the office, right? And it's more than just saying hi, my name is Cesar. It's like actually picking their brain, right? Seeing how they operate, right? And from the conversations that we've had, it's already been kind of like this is such and such. It's like, no, I noticed that they do X, Y, and Z. I know, but they do, this other person does X, Y, and Z. And they both kind of work. Yeah. Like you're already analyzing what works and what doesn't, right? Most people just fly by like, oh yeah, he's a rock star, so like, let me go introduce myself. And if you need help, let me know. And that's at that. Dude, I mean, if you were, if one of your friends were to come in and be like, yo, like, how's this agent thing, right? Like, how's it working for you? And do you think I should jump in? Like, what would you say the pros and cons are going to be? Wow, that's a good one. So I'm a very blunt person, and if one of my friends that I know very well
came to me and say, hey, how's the real estate thing? How's the agent thing? And I answer them and they say, oh, I feel like I should get into it. I'm the type of guy who's like, yeah, you're not gonna make it, dude. Like, you're just not. Just because I'm that type of person, and I'm very blunt, and I know it could be a downfall as well, but why waste time?
Right.
So, but for those that, I could see that they could make it, I would definitely, say that the pros of this is that, you obviously get to have a bigger social network. You get to meet so many people, and you never know where that could take you.
Absolutely. Right.
That's one. Two, the luxury of being that independent contractor. You set your own schedule. You don't have a boss per se.
Right.
So that those hours of you just being with yourself and trying to work is always a plus. And then third, obviously would be the reward of grinding out these hours and, the endless nights of honestly not sleeping because it's already happening to me because my mind's going a million miles per hour and hoping that this happens and hope that this doesn't happen.
Yep.
But I'm sure once it all goes through and you're in contract and you close and you see the check, you're like, all right, we got something here, So that would be the pros. The cons of this would be not knowing what to do because you do go in blind. No one's going to hand you anything.
Right.
You have to really search for this. You have to talk to people. You have to reach your sphere of influence. I don't know what it is, but you just got to do what you got to do to get people to know that you're a real estate agent.
Yep. And
that's the biggest con.
And there's no immediate feedback.
No, right? Not one.
So how many times? Well, is it going to be where you talk to how many hundreds of people, and out of the hundreds, maybe one finally works in a deal? But how many hours is that, right?
Oof, yeah.
And for me, the other side then becomes as you get more right now we are delving into that residential side, right? And I got a taste of commercial,
right?
Completely different monster.
Yeah.
The beast is right, but then now I go kind of back to my family background, and I'm like, so I looked at it from the realtor perspective. I looked at it from helping, from a client-facing perspective. And I'm like, I want to invest.
Yeah.
Right. And I think where this becomes interesting is I can't say I am the world-renowned expert on anything, right? But if there's something that I know, I will share it with whomever will listen, right? So the way I understand it is for instance, let's say I plant some seeds in you, and then later on you're like, I took that and I 10x this, so now let me teach you a thing or two.
Yeah.
Sit down, right? And
gotcha, yeah.
And so for me, when we first had a conversation of we're thinking about investing in certain things, right? So if I were to lock down a property, how would I even go about doing this, right? And I think the conversation was initially what most people have: financing.
Yeah, money. It comes down to money.
Right. Because if it wasn't money, then everyone would have property, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's definitely the truth.
So, we won't get into the particulars of deals per se, right? But
okay.
Now that we're essentially dispelling, for instance, the myth that you need to put 20% down on property, right?
Okay.
Does that kind of open up your mind frame in terms of, okay, no, you know what, maybe I can lock down another property, so let me actually start taking steps forward, or is it still kind of okay, that's one less thing I have to worry about, but I'm still kind of stuck?
Oh, I think it's a little bit of both, honestly. And again, it's just because of the inexperience and not really understanding the way the numbers work in this industry. So I would say for me, as of right now, it's a little bit of both. Maybe a couple of months from now or a year, definitely we could revert back to that question. And then I'll be no, it's more this side. But right now, I'm definitely
stuck in the middle.
Yeah, stuck in the middle. And what would your intake be, if you don't mind? Here I am asking him a question now.
I'm still, because at the end of the day, it's I still have that hesitance. I'm very risk averse in a lot of ways, right?
Okay.
So for me, I'm I can know the theory, I can know all this, but it's kind of the logic of why people read self-help books and still they're in the same place, right?
Yeah.
And this is the unfortunate thing of you could teach people anything, but until they pull the trigger themselves, it doesn't mean anything.
True.
Right?
True.
And so for me, it's one of those issues where I know how to run the numbers, right? I know the theory, and so for me, I'm still getting myself to find the deal.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And there are a lot of ways to get the financing. You can use other people's money. You could get hard money loans. I know the theory,
Right.
But I'm still finding a hard time getting myself to a point where I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Like, so the idea, like, I guess it's almost like me and my own business, right? If I mess up my business, it's on me.
Correct.
If I'm an employee, I can always say, oh, my boss is, a jerk, whatever.
Right.
But again, with the investment side of things, now, if I take someone's money and I mess up, oh crap.
Yeah, that's bad.
Right? I mean, obviously there's like the legal repercussions.
Sure.
But then for me, I think it's a hit to my conscience. Like, obviously, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, go talk to your own, right? But, when I talk to a lot of folks who did well, they said, first, lean into the things that you're doing. Like, you literally have it said, whatever you're comfortable doing, if it makes money, lean into that first.
Yeah.
Right? We have to be in a real estate space.
Right.
Right? And so for me, it makes perfect sense for me to jump into figuring out how to build wealth that way. Right? And judging from how quickly you pick up things in your head, I'm like, this dude plus his work ethic, like, I'm almost concerned. I'm almost concerned because it's like, if I kind of sit here and were to like look at some of these listings, and you're like, I already got that one. That one's in contract. I put an offer here. I'm like, damn it! There's nothing left in me, man. But obviously there's more than enough to go around. But I get the sense that like that first closing or two that you get in terms of on the investor side for your own like portfolio, I think you might get a bit hard, man. Like your person, I don't think there's like an in between for you. I think there's like a
appreciate it.
You're in or you're out.
Yeah, right? I'm all in for this. Like just like with anything else I did. Like when I played soccer, that's all I concentrated on, and that's what I went for. When I went to culinary, that was the only thing that I was focused on and be the best at that. When I became a fitness trainer, that's all I cared about and focus on that. So this is all I'm focused on, and this is my absolute long run. And if I could get, down that road into that investor side where I could comfortably, move my money around and help people and stuff like but
absolutely.
But yeah, I'm locked in.
So we have our path forward.
Yeah.
Right? And again, I understand that we're still fresh in this game.
Yeah.
But the advice that you would give to a new agent just starting out, like things I wish I knew. Right? And what was that?
Your sphere of influence, just once in a while say hello, how you doing? Because in the end, that selfishness of being that agent and knowing that they could be your clients and you could help them list their house is a major part of what this business is. But obviously you don't want to think too selfishness. What is it?
Selfishness.
Look at that. It's been a long day.
Yeah, it's been a very long day.
But yeah, it's just that. Just making sure that I did stay in touch with, certain people.
Right.
And now reaching back to them after 5 years, it's awkward to kind of push in that, hey, I'm a real estate agent, do you have a house? Okay, let's go list it, you know? So,
and it's, from a mindset perspective, I've always kind of almost felt guilty kind of thing, but then I realized, like, what are my motivations for doing this, right?
Yeah.
Why? I mean, everyone's minds and perspectives are different, but for me, my perspective is, look, yes, it'd be nice to have business, and yes, it would be preferable to work with people I already know.
Yeah.
Theoretically, it should be easier, right? Because you already have a relationship there. But if you're thinking it's just because you're going for the sale, for me, I feel like it's not wrong, right? But it's just, for me, I think there's something lacking there.
Oh no, I agree.
Right? And so, I think, I get the sense it's the same feel. Like, it's more because I know you, I want to give you the best path forward.
Yeah, it sounds a lot worse, but better the way you're explaining it. And just to kind of touch on more to that, I'm not saying that I would only stay in touch with them just because of the sale.
Right.
Again, it's just a part of it.
Right.
But no, in theory and just in general, I do want to help, and I'm sure we're all in this business to truly help people find a home,
right.
Or sell their home to get into whatever plans they have. Because in the end, everyone's winning, everyone's happy. But no, the number one thing, and I would tell the newer agents, and again, I'm very new, I'm 2 months in. Don't do this for the money right now. Don't think about that. And I truly have not thought about that, because you need to have the education. You need to learn. You need to grind, meet people, and then the money will come. Like you said, there's plenty to go around. We're in New York City. Like, wow.
Yep.
The possibilities of making money in this industry is large. But no, my goal is to 100% make sure that I have people that I'm working with happy with my services, because that's what I care about the most. Because in reality, right, they're going to be your future business, hopefully, you know, but just make sure that you have a great relationship, make sure that you're just doing well in life, because you want them to get into a place that they're happy.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I'm with you. I'm glad you touched that, because it made me sound like I'm really selfish, but I'm not.
And
look, and there's nothing wrong with being selfish, like I said, but like
it's
our MO.
Right, and like that's why I always got caught, because you know, we kind of we're in an issue where like sell,
Yeah.
but I think a lot of times for me, unfortunately, like I'll say something in the high, like on the back end, I'm like, damn, that really sounds very salesy, right?
Yeah.
But if that's my intent, then you know what, I just let it ride, right? Because and for me, if it doesn't sit right with me, then I know that's my reflection. Like I need to reflect on that. But oftentimes the way I say things and like. But what I actually meant, but then like those small insignificant details is what like really I'm like, but that's a highlight. Like for me, it's like, yeah, would I love your business? Absolutely. I love to earn your business.
Yes.
Right? But don't get me wrong, right? Outside of this business transaction, my relationship with you means a lot more.
Yeah, I think that just goes to show in this business that every agent, and again, I've met few, but many in a sense, I think everyone goes through that, because if I'm going through it, I'm sure at one point you went through it, since we're talking about it. It's like we know we have to reach out to people that we spoke to and had relationships with, but it's like, oh man, I haven't spoken to this person so long. How do I, kind of say to myself, oh, I haven't really spoken to this person in years. I do want to kind of know how they're doing, but at the same time, it's my job. Like, how do I incorporate and say, listen, I'm glad you're doing well, but if
you know someone,
exactly. So I think that's a great way to also tell the newer agents, like, you're going to be put in that position, and you got to really kind of put your whole thought process behind that conversation and feel it out and see, oh my God, did that sound too salesy, or did you genuinely kind of mean it with the intentions of selling? It's weird.
I think that's where kind of not you, but like generally a lot of folks get caught because they get so stuck in the pitch, right? I was like, whatever happened, like if you look at the agents or just people in general, right? Let's just take real estate out of this for a second.
Sure.
The folks who do the best, there's a genuineness to it.
Yeah.
Right? Especially if they are or were your friends, I would like to assume that they already know when the BS train is coming, right? So if you're like, hey man, how you doing? Oh, by the way, just
get to the point. What do you want, dude?
Yeah, and then they're like, now, so you call me out of the blue because you need business from like.
And I think a lot of people in general don't understand that is what an agent goes through, or has to go through.
Right. When I was going through my book, or I was going through my phone thing to make my calls. I actually got to a point where I was like, you know what, like rather than hard-nosing into like, hey, by the way, I'm an agent, so if you know someone, let me know, kind of situation, I got to the point of like, damn, I haven't spoken to this person in like years.
There you go. Yeah.
And I was like, look, I'm calling. First I was like, hey, what's up? And I got to the point. Honestly, I was just like, look, I'm an agent. I'm a real estate agent now, right? But honestly,
put that aside.
Outside of that, honestly, like, how's life, man? Like, how has things been?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And that organic growth has been more helpful to me, it's as a person and just everything in general. But I got to that point of get real, true, genuine bonds first, right? And now I got to the point of like, oh, by the way, like you said you were an agent, right? And I'm like, yeah, but like if it came off as sales, like I do apologize, right? It's just right. Yeah. Like no, that's fine. Like it was actually great talking to you, man. But it just so happens my auntie's got that place she's going into.
Yeah.
And I think it's coaching, right? Mentoring, and unfortunately, I think a lot of folks don't jump into that, right?
Yeah. Trial and error, right? It's like a lot of trial and error in this business, just like anything, I'm sure. But especially for what we have to do, and what I've been going through, it's just really winging this whole thing. No one really tells you how to speak to your sphere of influence for a long time, and I was just like you, going through my phone book, and I start genuinely seeing myself from the very beginning when I was calling my sphere of influence that I was just attacking them as a salesperson. But then as I started going through more, because it is true what they say, when you have a phone, you're gonna have probably like 100 contacts or more. So it's like you really start looking and I'm like, oh man, I really bonded with this person so many times. Like, let me genuinely just call and see how it is. So now I have done that and I feel a lot better for it. But in the beginning I felt bad because I just don't know what I'm doing.
Right. It's repetition, right?
Yeah.
Again, I think this is why this falls so perfectly into everything that you've done, because real estate, and among like every other things that you want to be masters at, is repetition.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think even like there's some kids I talked to prior, and I should call them kids, they're my age or older, right? But a lot of folks that we talk to and they're like, yeah, this thing is not for me. And I'm like, I talked to them about it.
Yeah.
Like, what did you try doing? And they're like, oh yeah, I called. For how long?
Yeah.
How many people did you call?
Right.
What was your schedule looking like?
Right.
I probably called about 100 people. Wait, you were in Asia for like 4 months, weren't you?
Yeah.
So you called 100 people in 4 months.
Right.
But did you have any other conversations? Did you do anything else? Right. I had posts up and looked at your thing, and I'm like, 4 months there are 3 posts, right?
Yeah.
And like, did you practice? Like, did you get any actual real repetitions? And meanwhile, I look at the masters in our office, right? Day in, day out, they said from this time to that, don't talk to me, don't look my way, don't breathe my way.
Yeah.
Right? Early in the morning before the office even opens, like you talk to most of them, like, dude, I have my role playing calls.
Yeah.
I have like these are people smashing it, $500,000, $1 million, multi-million dollars a year.
And there's a reason to it.
Right. And so for me, it's like, damn, you do not operate at any high level, and you did multiple times, right, without massive repetition until you bleed this out your ears.
Right.
Right. And I think learning curve is so steep that I don't know, man. I think 3 years. Giving you 3 years might have been generous. Right.
Again, I appreciate it, man. And as long as I continue to, be next to people like yourself and the other coworkers that I've had the pleasure of speaking to, I know all together we do come up. But yeah, no, thank you. I can't thank you enough. Yeah.
You're gonna make me blush. So, if you had a preferred method of, say, generating business, right? What would obviously we're still gonna figure out what works better, but
sure.
In terms of preference, what do you prefer?
In regards to what?
So, like, for instance, do you prefer your calls? Do you prefer door knocking? Do you prefer social media?
Okay. So I definitely tried all those methods, and I'm still doing them. But I think I'm getting a lot more comfortable door knocking, believe it or not. I'm getting a lot more comfortable doing that. I just think the interaction of seeing the person has a lot more benefit, and this is my opinion. Doesn't necessarily mean it will work for others, but just me, because I'm a people person. I'll go up, I'll knock, and I'll just be very confident. And if I get the vibes that they don't want me, okay, on to the next one. If I get the vibes that the conversation can stir, I could keep up with it, and then hopefully get an appointment, get an email, a number, anything that I could use as a lead.
Absolutely. In
the future. So I would say door knocking would probably be.
But
I'm definitely making my calls. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm doing everything. I'm trying.
I mean, look, and then you might get to a point where maybe you really fine tune that door knocks scenario. Like your system is such that get to the point of like, why am I even calling anymore?
Yeah.
I mean, you look like your inner circles, like your bread and butter, obviously still calling because or drive, But I get the sense that you'd be more than okay than just be like, hey, look, I'm in your area. Why don't we just go grab a cup of coffee?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's the call, but the actual thing is let's sit down.
Yeah.
Let's talk. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Damn, I don't know. I think some agents gonna have to look out for you, my man.
Well, I'm being very, like I said, I'm being very humble, modest, shy still, but I am very competitive, and I have that competitive nature, so I'm gonna give them a run for their money for sure. Like I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna hold back. Like I want to be one of the best. I definitely want to.
I think once you're comfortable with the chops that you accrue, I think this is going to be a really fun game for you, man.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's the other side of it. I get the sense that you're coming from a perspective like, obviously, I want to win, right? But I want to win by helping folks. Yeah. And so I think that's going to shine. That's going to shine, man. Like I don't see. I mean, as long as you stay with it, I don't see a scenario where you're gonna just say like, yeah, I'm doing like a closing a year, maybe. Right? Like I sense that once you get those chops in, right, and obviously still keep reaching out to those seasoned agents because I mean, so far all of them have been such amazing people.
Oh yeah.
But I think you might be a monster in a few years.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah.
I think I may be asking you for help.
You're all right.
And you know what? Mark my words. You know who you are. I already called it, and I'm going to be calling you soon, my man.
Oh,
all right.
All right.
So
like that.
I know there are agents, right? That are going to be like, well, they're cool, and why can't I? I'm like, no, good on you, man. Like smash. Now let's go see double, right?
Yeah.
I want to see real numbers, and for me, there's a joy in it because it's one thing if you're kind of like a scumbag, right?
Yeah.
Then for me, I'm like, do well, don't do well, but just please be a better person. But like, we have so many good people in our office that I'm like, I just want to see you kill it. Like, I want to see right? And I get it. From obviously we say kill it because we in our industry we equate it to like the numbers, right? Like how many closings you have, what kind of commission income did you make, right? Not that we'll always share that, right? But I just want to know that you were smashing things, right? But for me, in my mindset, if that is a solid person, right, man, woman, doesn't matter.
Sure.
For me, what that reads is that amazing person helped that many people, right? I know it's I'm nitpicking here, right? But
no, I get it. Yeah.
It's like I want you to kill it because for me, what that means is you've helped people.
Yeah.
Right. And so I just can't wait to see that placard on the wall saying, "My man Cesar, like, you know, he capped again."
Appreciate it, man.
Right?
And I know I'm gonna get there. I definitely know I'm gonna get there. And honestly, I wouldn't see myself getting there with again the team that I'm so fortunate to walk into. Again, you know, shout out to Keller Williams, Landmark Realty. The family's just amazing. The people there are amazing. And I have so many specific people that, you know, I want to give personal shout outs to, and they know who they are. But I'm definitely picking and choosing those times to do it.
Absolutely.
But I have a massive list of people that, you know, I can't thank enough for teaching me and for making me feel like I will get to capping, to being a multi-million listing agent or however the lingo is. I see it, and it really is all because of the family as well. You know?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, you're gonna have plenty of time to thank them all, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I'll see you going anyway.
All right.
So if people want to find you on social media, where can they go find you?
Oh, so right now, only on Facebook. I am very, believe it or not, I am very bad at media. I'm very bad at media.
We're gonna work on that.
We're working on it. But right now, Facebook, 100%. I'm on there. Instagram will come. Will definitely come. I did hear a lot of people say that TikTok could be very good for me. I don't know yet, but it could be there in the long run. But right now, you could definitely find me on Facebook for sure, and all those other media platforms will come.
Come soon.
Come soon.
Okay. So what that means for me is then, if they need to reach out to you, then
so cell phone number would be good, right? So yes, you can. Of course, a cell phone. Right? You can reach me at 516-497-5842.
So, I mean, I want to redo this again sometime. Hopefully I get my technical difficulties squared away.
Okay.
Because the next time I talk to you, I'm expecting more gains, bro.
All right, yeah, hell yeah.
Gains.
Definitely. I definitely see us doing this conversation again.
Ooh, okay.
With all that stuff, yeah.
And you know what? If you have a growing portfolio before that time happens, I might be low-key jelly. But it's okay. It's okay. You know, that just gives me something to chase after.
There you go. You see, we're helping each other out some way or another.
Oh, yes. Okay.
All right.
So, with that said, thank you all for joining us, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.
Thanks, guys. Bye.